It's been a while since I've done a curry on the channel. I know you guys love them and I enjoy making them too. So in this one, we're going to be making African chicken curry. This one is super easy to make, tastes absolutely incredible, and most of the herbs and spices you should already have in your cupboard, so it makes it a lot cheaper. Let's get straight into it. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Alright, we're going to start this off by making our curry paste, and for this here is 2 long red chilies. These can have their stems removed and save for compost, and we're just going to give this a quick rough chop. Like all of my recipes, chili is of course optional, but the slight heat in this curry is extremely good and highly recommended. Next we need the stems and roots from 1 bunch of coriander or cilantro, and again, just give them a quick rough chop. Here is 20 grams or 0.7 ounces of peeled ginger that can either be finely chopped or run along a fine microplane to create a paste, but if you do chop instead, just make sure that it's super fine, otherwise you end up with chunks of ginger in the end product. 1 whole lemon is also going to be used, utilizing the whole thing by running it along a fine microplane to remove the zest, then slice it in half and extract the juice from both halves, either using a citrus juicer or by hand, but make sure no seeds decide to hop in. With that done, to a blender, food processor or mortar and pestle, add in the roughly chopped chili, 8 cloves of freshly peeled garlic, 5 whole peeled shallots or 2 small brown or yellow onions, the roughly chopped coriander or cilantro, the minced ginger or ginger paste, as well as the lemon zest, lemon juice, and 1.5 tablespoons or 30 milliliters of canola oil, which will get everything moving. As for the spices, add in 1 tablespoon or 8 grams of garam masala for a complex medley of aromatics and flavors, 2 teaspoons or 5 grams of smoked paprika for sweet, peppery, smoky notes, 1 teaspoon of ground allspice for a warm earthiness, 2 teaspoons or 5 grams of ground turmeric for a bit of muskiness and color, 1 teaspoon or 5 grams of sea salt flakes, and a lid to make sure that this doesn't go everywhere. Let's then blitz this up on a high speed or ground and pound if using a mortar and pestle, just until it forms a nice smooth but slightly coarse paste, then remove and pop aside. We're now going to add 1.2 kilos or 2.6 pounds of boneless and skinless chicken thigh to a mixing bowl and add over all of the curry paste, making sure to get every last bit in there to avoid wasting any of this good stuff. Get your clean hands in there and give the thighs a good rub down, ensuring the paste is completely coating every little nook and cranny until you have something that looks like this, that can be wrapped up and placed in the fridge for 30 minutes up to 48 hours. Whilst that's marinating, let's make a delicious citrus yogurt, which is optional but highly recommended, and if making, add 200 grams or 7.05 ounces of natural Greek yogurt to a mixing bowl, along with 1/4 of a teaspoon of red chili powder, and for a little fragrance kick, here is 1 freshly peeled garlic clove that can be run along a fine microplane or grater, adding it to the yogurt and chili powder. As well as the garlic, we need 1 lime that can also be run along a fine microplane to remove the zest, adding that to the bowl for a beautiful freshness. Then with the lime itself, slice it in half and extract the juice, either using a citrus juicer or by hand, and we only need half of this so you can save the other half for another dish or drink. Add the juice into the bowl with the other ingredients, season to taste with sea salt flakes, then give this all a really good mix until combined and smooth, adjusting the seasoning and citrus levels to your taste, and place in the fridge until ready to serve. Now to get this cooking, place a large high-rimmed pan or pot over medium-high heat, add in 1 tablespoon or 20 milliliters of canola oil, and once hot, add in the marinated chicken, reserving the excess marinade, and also do this in batches to not overcrowd the pan, and sear for 2 minutes on each side, just to create the slightest of colour. Our main focus here is just to allow the curry paste to start cooking and becoming extremely aromatic and bursting with flavour. Once that's done, these can then be removed and set aside, repeating that 2-minute process on each side, just with the remaining batch. With that done, add in all of the reserved or leftover marinade that was in the bowl, and whilst giving it a mix through, saute it for 1 minute, then pour in 2 cups or 500 milliliters of chicken stock to add great depth of flavour, and deglaze the pan, pulling up any bits that may be stuck. Give this a gentle mix through and bring it to a simmer. Once simmering, add in 2 cans, which is 800 grams or 1.76 pounds of diced tomatoes to create the gravy to our curry, and sea salt flakes to taste. Then give this all a really good mix for those flavours to become friends, and bring it to the point that the edges just start bubbling, whilst giving it the occasional mix. Next, let's add back in the chicken, and I highly recommend gently placing it in along with the resting juices, otherwise you might do something like this, which is what I did here, and create a massive mess. With the chicken and resting juices in, give this all a really good mix through, spreading your thighs apart so they don't overlap, and bring this all to a boil over a high heat. Once boiling, place on a lid, reduce the heat to low, and allow it to simmer for 1 hour undisturbed. 1 hour later, carefully remove the lid and give this all a gentle mix, as the chicken will be really tender at this point, and allow it to continue simmering with the lid off for 20 more minutes, which will reduce the sauce, making it the perfect consistency, and also during this stage give it a taste test and adjust seasoning levels accordingly. Now whilst that's doing its thing, place a saucepan over high heat, add in 1 cup or 200 grams of washed basmati rice, 2 cups or 500 milliliters of cold water, and a small pinch of sea salt flakes, and mix this all to break up any clumps. For optional fragrance and aroma, we can add in 1 star anise, 4 whole cloves, 4 green cardamom pods, 3 dried bay leaves, and half of a cinnamon stick, and whether or not you added the spices, this can then be brought to a boil, reduce the heat to low, place on a lid, and cook for 14 minutes undisturbed. 14 minutes later, turn it off the heat, but leave the lid on for a final 5 minutes, then carefully remove the lid, being careful of the steam, remove and discard the spices which have done their job to infuse, use a fork or spatula to lightly fluff this all up, then this can be removed from the stovetop. Back to the curry, which has been simmering away for a total of 1 hour and 20 minutes. What you should have is this beautiful deep red curry that still is nice and thick but has a nice runny consistency. This can also be removed from the heat. You can serve this up however you'd like, but I like to place down the rice first into a nice wide bowl. Place over that extremely tender chicken, with this recipe serving 3 to 4 people. Make sure to smother it with that delicious fragrant gravy, with the amount being completely up to you, and garnish with fresh coriander or cilantro, as well as the citrus yogurt, which I stupidly forgot to do on camera. This then leaves us with this beautiful, fragrant, aromatic, and incredibly delicious African chicken curry, which in my opinion is the best curry we've done on this channel so far. All that's left to do is make our efforts worthwhile, and that is we can then dig in.